Okay, enter scene right when the music stops. All right. All right, well, I guess let's start with the water. Just as I was going live, I whacked my hurt wrist with the chair when I was adjusting it. Well, just when I was getting better too. So, I think my original plan for this part was going to be starting on the water, or zoom out just a little bit. I might also do some of the more textures in the tree line. I'm not sure yet though. Oops. I do want to pull up my reference though. My other reference, the test painting I did with the swan. See, I've already gone quite a bit. If I'm comparing my previous painting to this one, I've already gone a bit darker on the water. Another thing I got to do is I got to do some of the reflections of the shadows on the foreground here. I've already started doing it a little bit, but not as much as it should be. And closer to the water, it should be a bit darker as well, I think. Because it's not only shadow, it's also like dirt. Hey Angel, how's it going? How you doing this Wednesday? Today's Wednesday, right? I'm just trying to figure out where to start today. Good, glad to hear it. I'm back to vanilla chai. I'm back to this one here today. A little too hot I just poured it, so it's still pretty steaming. So I'll wait to sip on it a little bit. So I'm thinking about starting the non-reflective part of the water today, and which has been worrying me because there's a lot of waves, a lot of stuff. I've included it in my post today. Drinking tea and chilling. I got this. Studying my my reference here. Well, for starters, I suppose. Well, let's do some test work here. Nope, that's not wet enough. So what you up to today, Angel? I was running around, so I got like hat hair going on and stuff. Nothing productive? Huh? You can't be productive every day, I suppose. I was forced to shovel off my walkway again today, so my arm's a little sore. This one, not my dominant arm. But had another wave of snow come down from the rooftop. It's like, oh, thanks. So it's snowing even when it's not snowing. Yeah. Okay, so doing it on wet blue doesn't work because it distorts the blue. Interesting texture, but won't work for this. But the color is right, so I'll go with it. I don't remember. I think I just kind of did general shades here. See, even that, the brown's a bit strong. It's fine if it varies a little bit, but I don't want it all to be that dark. as I get closer to the reeds over here, it should get darker and more of it. But I want to be careful not to paint over the reeds so I can get good coloration on them. And then I'll go back through and touch it up later, I think. So me from 2 years ago would have hesitated to do what I've already done this this stream. Funny enough. I think I've gotten a little better. Oh yes, older and with. I could go without the older part, but yes, that's very wise. I gotta be real careful that I don't smudge this because this is a larger area than I usually work with. It's covering like a fifth of the entire painting. It's a nice little shadow. Gotta do some hover handing here. If I turn the painting when I'm streaming, does that matter to a viewer? I was curious about that. Again, I'm talking to the chat box. If I turn the painting, does that, does it make it too unwatchable? Like if I turn it 90 degrees to the side, so it's like the sky's on the right and the ground's on the left. I only turn it upside down if I absolutely have to. 90 degrees is fine. All right. Because that makes these horizontal lines I got to do a lot easier if I do it like that. I feel like it's a shame to cover all this bright blue with brown, but with the context it makes sense. It's not a blue lagoon, it's a marsh, you know, it's another biome and it's beautiful in its own way, even if the water is not crisp blue. The reflection of the sky is crisp blue. In the water I wouldn't want to swim in. Oh, sure. No problem. If I was smart, I would mask some of these off, but feel a little bit like it's cheating, even though, I mean, it's a tool, you know. Much like anything else, masking is a tool. But sometimes I don't wonder why I do some of the things I do, but it's me, I guess. I just don't want to make it easy on myself. And I did try masking before, and while it worked, it did the thing. The lines were very thick, and since it's a fluid, it kind of clumps up a little bit in spots. And I really didn't get what I wanted to do. I wasn't able to control it as well. Whereas with just a brush, especially now that I got this little brush, I can, not this brush, but the other one. I wanted to kind of make a heart here built into the ripples, if I could. I don't know if that's a little, you're not going to really be able to tell it's there, but it is. But again, I'm doing what I was doing before, where I'm kind of trying to find trying to find the painting, trying to find what's going on that makes sense to me, so I can keep painting. This is quite a bit bigger than my sketch, so it's not as easy as just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. It's going to be way more involved than that. And since these plants are basically straight lines, then if I make a few points in here, it should actually make it easier probably. There's a few sections like this one where it doesn't come to a point, but for the most part, the blending the line between the water and these reeds was the part I was worried about most, especially because the reeds are just so random chaotic that It's really kind of hard to find your way through them. But this is my attempt. And there isn't as much brown as I remember in the background. There's some where, but they're kind of more muddled. They're mixed in with the blue a lot more than I had originally thought about in my mind when I was remembering this painting, or this picture. It's there, but it's just, I remember, for whatever reason, I remember like, oh, I can explain it. I was worried about this section so much that I made this whole thing in my mind be this color, except for right around the swans, and it's just not that way. And I mean, it's a mix for sure, because the way waves work when they're far away versus close. You're not seeing as much of the bottom of the swell of the wave, or even part way up, you're seeing just the top. So when it's ripples like that, you're just seeing the tops all over the place, and it's just either white or reflecting. And in this case, they're tiny little ripples, so they're all reflecting, which means there's a lot more blue than the brown that I remember. Follow my stream as I try and make sense of of a simple painting to myself. So I almost wish I was doing this like high definition on one little spot, which I might do later now that I think about it. But I've never been a macro artist. I say that like I've been doing this for years. And then as it gets even closer, it gets less and less reflective, because you're not reflecting the sky, you're just looking straight into the water. And so it should get less blue and maybe a little bit darker. But I gotta remember to include blue. Even close up. Well, close-ish. I know what I want to do, but I can't do it while it's damp. And since the swans are the subject here, I'm going to kind of have the ripples act as frame and kind of direct your attention towards the swans themselves. Just want to be real careful not to hit any of the swans with the brown though. And theoretically, it's something I didn't really think about when I started doodling here. Theoretically, the bands of water, as you get closer to the viewer, should be larger. And farther away, they should be more ripple. But that's also not a perfect rule. So my tea should be cooled off by now. Oh yeah, perfect temperature. Pretty sure that was a text and not the song. Oh, cool. Natalie's on her way to join up the stream. All right, let's go sideways here. I feel like it'll help me with the longer ripples that I'm having trouble with at the moment. I've only done a handful of water forward paintings, so it's not my specialty, and I've never really, when I look at waves, typically, in nature, when you're looking at the ocean or lake or something, you're looking at the whole thing, you're not looking at a wave. And it really only occurred to me when I started painting, when I started trying to paint. So kind of trying to rediscover what I'm seeing right now from what I've ever looked at. Other than the very tips of the waves, it shouldn't be angular at all, it should be curvy. And a little bit I want to close the reflection in on the birds as much as I can without it being unnatural. I may go back over some of this brown with blue later to maybe turn it a little bit green. Take some of the real harsh brown out of it. But for now, this is the plan. I feel like I curve up a little too much on the left side. And if there's not a direct source of wave in a water source, it'll kind of static. And in that clear reflection is where we see, or in that clear, where we're not seeing the sky reflected, is where we see the reeds reflected themselves. I think that's too much. I caught myself. A real interesting thing about this one is there should be blue and brown waves intersecting through the reflection off this swan here. Now that I'm starting to figure it out a little bit, I'm starting to be happy with some of these ripples. Doesn't really get darker the farther away it is. It just kind of, there's less right next to the bright white, so it looks darker. And I gotta keep that in mind because that's a optical illusion. It's not actually getting darker. And where all the waves meet, there's kind of that static effect that I was talking about before. My heart has kind of disappeared in there, hasn't it? There used to be a heart right here. Although you can't much tell what I'm doing at that I look okay? Looks except, oh, I didn't move my keyboard out of the way. No wonder I feel kind of crowded. That's much better. Hey Natalie, how's it going? How are you doing today? I'll show you my update so far. The painting's changed a bit. What do you think? How's it going? Can you hear me all right? See, I like these ripples here, but they're a little strong. I don't even think you can see what I'm doing there. I can barely see it myself. Oh, thanks. It's changed a little bit with this reflection. It's not quite the bright blue it once was, but that was always the plan. And you're familiar with Potter's Marsh. That's what it looks like. Should be doing this over here, but it's hard for me to do left-handed. Gotta float my hand a little bit here. Maybe I'll come back to the right side and just work on the left for now. I think it disappeared, but if you look closely here, there's a heart and the ripple pattern around these two, but with all the other ripples around it, you can't really see it anymore. It blends in. Yeah. See if I can't bring it back a little bit. Because I don't want it to be obvious. I want to, if someone's looking at it, I want them to find it, you know? I don't want it to be like, oh, this is a, yeah, secret heart. I didn't know Sonia had a thing Saturday. What's that? Oh, is it her birthday? I just remembered that me and her both have March birthdays. At Coots, not at Asia Gardens. Yeah, I'll probably go. Did she? I don't think I remember seeing it unless it happened just recently. Oh. I didn't notice. I was invited. That's funny. I have received the invitation. I was invited, it looked like. I just didn't see it, or it didn't tell me or something. I don't know. For whatever reason, I was not aware of it. But I have been made aware. Yeah, I'll probably go. My day's going pretty well. I woke up late, did some errands, did a little shoveling, hung out a bit. Didn't have a dentist appointment today, so that's a plus. I did yesterday. Turns out I'm taking great care of my teeth, apparently. How's your day going today, Natalie? Oh, I know. Don't remind me. Just so you know, I won't be streaming all that much when I'm back to work. Yeah. And once I go back to work, I'll only really be able to stream Sundays. And maybe the occasional short stream on a weekday, maybe. I just gotta quit and go full-time streamer. That's what I gotta do. He's doing it too strong, but it might be too subtle in spots. It's a little tilted, isn't it? It's a bit straighter. I see what I'm doing wrong. Again, it's my mixture of realism and fantasy here, where it's realistic and at the same time there's little bits that are off. A little too bright, a little too rounded. This is a little too curvy, and it gets a little closer to the swans than I painted here. And there's more ripples too, even more. Lots and lots of ripples. Which is funny because when I get real close to it, it's like, that's not what it looks like at all. Nope, nope. I gotta start filling up a lot of my time with studying, because I've got a pretty good sized test coming up for my job. Oh, I just noticed that spot. This these come way up here, and there's some big, nice big blue ripples jutting out this way. It's a practical test for being able to go out on site and do the testing that I need to do. Basically, it would be working with contractors and whoever else is doing the cement to make sure the correct product is being delivered. A lot of testing, like the contents and temperatures and ratios of water to material and whatnot. Actually, the water is not that big of a deal. Not really. But yeah, one part practical, one part written. Just your normal certification style test. Getting closer with the gradual shape of the reflection here. It shouldn't be so round. I kind of want to bring it in a little more. That's a bit flatter in a good way. That's an interesting little ripple there. Accentuate it a little bit. Oh, speaking of warm weather, I popped into my sunroom yesterday, and it was 85 degrees in my sunroom already. Like, oh no. What kind of summer are we looking forward to where the snow's not even melted and my sunroom's 80 degrees? Right? I'm thinking about possibly doing some sunbathing in there after. But I might start up another project after the stream. We'll see. If it's going to be a warm one, I already got to start getting used to the warmth. Do you handle heat well, Natalie? I've never been much for like really hot weather. Not really, yeah. Same. Very much the same. Although I've gotten used to the cold or the hot weather before, when I've had to go to the lower 48 for extended periods of time. Like when I was doing flight training stuff, I was down there for quite a while. It was like 3 weeks. And I started to get used to the heat. And then I came back and went right back to the way I was almost instantly. It's like, I can breathe again. Not standing in a damn blow dryer every second of the day. That's what it felt like too. It was unreal. Have I told you about the time I went down to Arizona for flight training? Yep. Yeah, Angel was talking about that, how it was like, she lives down in Texas, and she's like, yeah, it was like 80. It was cold out. I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. So, right? So when I was doing my flight training stuff, I did not a lot of time, but a lot of the training down in 85. Jeez. No, thanks. Limited time only. I can do hot temperatures and enjoy it. Oh, okay, I got you. Then you got to dress warm for the AC, right? So, my trick to surviving hot weather temps is drink a ton of water, like even more so than you think you should have. Don't go overboard, of course, but and then I'm eating a lot of like fruit instead of, I mean, whatever else you would eat. I eat pretty heavy up here, obviously. No. But when I'm down there, I don't eat nearly as much. It's a great excuse for a nap. I don't eat nearly as much, and I drink way more water if I'm in the lower 48. Oh, yeah. Although, Texas, well, I only went to Austin, to be fair. I didn't really... I stopped in Dallas, but I didn't really go outside, not really. But in Austin, the humidity wasn't as bad as, say, Florida. Humidity, you were damp just walking outside. It was crazy. Oh, okay. That makes sense, yeah. I was not bred for that climate. Although human body's really impressive, I could probably get used to it with enough time and encouragement. Now I want to see Natalie with an afro. Right? What are you going down to Texas for? Add Moose. John's sister's in Austin, and then he has an appointment thing in Houston. Tagging along. Oh, vacation! Business trips where you don't have to do anything are the best. The last time I ever had mousse in my hair was, I must have been 9. I thought it was such a cool idea to add foam to your hair. Oh, thanks, Angel. It's starting to come along. It's starting to create some shape. I did it before. I did it like way too... It looked like a bowl almost, and I think I fixed it a little. But I'm slowly getting closer to semi-realism. That's what my genre is, semi-realism. Zoom in on it so I can compare it to my side by side real easy. All right, Angel, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by again. I'm gonna refresh my tea here. There we are. And actually, while I'm doing that, I'm gonna run and take a quick break, like 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's not pull my headset cable down. Connected to everything. Ugh. All right, I'm back. What'd I miss? It's crazy how bright my how bright my screen is in comparison to this one. So I really pick up the dark on this screen, and it's somewhere in between the two. What I really got to do is, if I'm serious about continuing painting like this on stream, I've got to get a let's see, I need about that angle. I got to get a better more color accurate screen compared to what I'm seeing. That would be very helpful, especially when it comes to like making proofs and prints. Gonna be doing anything exciting down in Texas, Natalie? Or is it just chill? Chillax and hang out. Nice. That's still pretty fun in itself. Gonna hit like 6th Street or anything like that. They have a they have a an interesting you have to go, yeah. So basically, so picture the pub crawl downtown if all of the bars were on 4th Avenue and they closed down the street for the night. That's what 6th Street is every weekend. So it's a pretty good time. Yeah. It's like they pushed all the bars in Anchorage to this one avenue, you know, to 4th Ave, and yeah, shut it down. I remember it being fairly safe as long as you don't go off into the did I go 2 or 3 times? I've gone at least twice to 6th Ave. And it was pretty cool. Yeah, it wasn't bad. If you go out like into the alleys, it's a little sketchier. But it sounds like, because when I was there was a lot of homeless people around. And it sounds like they may have cleaned it up a little bit. Now, I'm not sure what that means. It's just what I've heard. I remember I stopped in the piano bar. Where else did I go? I don't remember. It was a lot to take in all at once. There's a lot of different bars and such. Picture the Vegas Strip, you know. Except I don't know. I don't remember if open bevs are legal there or not. There was a really good, well, I say really good. It's the only freak show I've ever been to, you know, which I never knew those were an actual thing. I guess they gotta be real because people reference them all the time. But, it was, like a freak show collection with a magic show, and they had a Neanderthal or a frozen man there, and it was just this dude that was frozen in ice for no one knows how long, and he's just in this open-faced freezer. So you're just like looking at this frozen dude, frozen Neanderthal. Like, damn. Don't walk down avalanche chutes is the lesson of the day. Oh, but the weird thing about the freak show house thing was it was in one of Johnny Depp's old homes, and it was like a home from like, it was built in like the 1700s or something crazy, maybe 1800s, but it was an old place. And you can tell just by standing in it that it's old. Like, close your eyes. Yep, this is old. Not typically a place I would have gone to, but it was interesting. But yeah, back to what I was saying. It felt pretty safe when I was there. I would go with a local if it were up to me, because they know all the spots. You know, if you want to go to a metal show, you got to go off the path a little bit. There was a biker bar we went to on the side as well that was a little more sketchy. I wouldn't have gone without someone I know, you know. And we didn't go to the metal show because it was ending as we got there, unfortunately. But it sounded like a metal show from outside, so. Let's see if I'm going the right direction here. Again, no, I gotta bring it up even more. Right here in the middle. Because it feels like I'm curving it out a bit. The heart is going to disappear even further here. That's a bit different. I'm paying way too much attention to my little ripple lines and not enough to the water. I'm putting too much of what I want to see into it, and it's not even there. So I like the idea of the ripples. which there is some ripples, but there's nowhere near as many ripples as I made. Like all the ripples should be fairly dense and static like I was talking about before. Then out in the heavier blue areas I gotta add, you know. Play, has my tea cooled down yet? Not totally. It's an untouched spot. Move it over here so I can see it. I never even finished my my story about flight training, I just realized. Well, less of a story about flight training and more a story about just how frickin' hot it was in Arizona when I was doing my flight training. So, I don't remember when I had gone down, but it was 2012. And while I was there, it was so hot that three people, no reference to them all outside of the story, Didn't know him, nothing like that. But 3 people died hiking while I was there because it was so hot. It was 115 degrees and windy the entire time. It was nasty. It was crazy. Like, I'm glad I experienced it, but at the same time, I can go without that. I can go without 115 degrees. I'm fine at 90, you know? I can live at 90. It's fine. But with AC, I can live at 90. But 115 degrees, a little crazy for me. But because it was 115 and blowing constantly, I had gotten my hair cut just a little bit before I went, so my hair was like perfect. Like, typically I like to do the faux hawk, you know, when I go out. It was in a perfect blow dried faux hawk always. Whether it's the end of the day, beginning of the day, I just got out of the shower, my hair is still wet, it's still just like faux hawk always. No matter what I did. I could be swimming and my hair would be in a faux hawk. That's how hot and windy it was there. My hair was just trained to do that by the end of 3 weeks. Ish. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I can handle the hot if there's a pool too. Give me some respite from it while being in the sun still. Yeah, 115 degrees, no thanks. Going to... Oh, I'll be right back. Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So I need to move. Need to get rid of some of this blue, I think. It doesn't have to be anything extreme, but oops, oh man. I just did this just off the camera I did this. Hang on. Gotta readjust everything. Be real careful not to spill anything. So just above this duck here, I just did all this right here. And it's like, why is it that sometimes when I'm just like doodling or whatever, I come up with the best thing. And then when I'm trying to do the thing, it comes out worse than what I was just like, because I just nonchalantly just went, and I was like, that's really good. I like it. Actually, the paint would go really well right here. I just gotta, it's a little too dark. Maybe I just have to not think so much about it. I was also using the round part of my brush too, not the tip, which maybe that has something to do with it. So like the curved part here and not the tip. So it curves more on one side and it's straighter on the other. Almost like a plain aileron, or a wing. But I'm just worried I'm gonna do too much. So I kind of like what's going on near the shores right now, and it's still light enough for me to go through with a detail brush and pick up some reflections and stuff. It'll help when I finally add shading and color to this duck here. So right now it just looks like a wave. I'm so tempted to just do the swans now. Actually, after doing that, I kind of want to look at the big picture again. make sure I got the shape I want, or at least similar to it. Okay. I do see what I want to do. And behind the swans here, should be fairly dry. I want to kind of bring the shadow out a bit here, and a little bit here as well, I think. If I was good enough, I could probably just use the raised edges of the raised bumps of the paper to get the effect I wanted here, because it's a similar thing. The grain of the paper, like you can tell. A little bit on here, you can see, well, maybe if it's blown way up you can see it, but the grain of the paper is very, looks a lot like water ripples, but I imagine there's quite the pattern in there. It wouldn't be, maybe in just a circle zone it would be executable. They'd be able to figure it out. But I want this spot to be, I'm not trying to shade over the area. I want dots until it becomes darker, and not like going over like shaded. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. I was about to change that a bit. Some of these little inlet areas, they're very simple, but They're exactly what I want. These two right here specifically. They turned out really well. And then this spot too, I like a lot. That narcissistic of me? I don't know. I'd say it's mostly random, and I'm just finding it. I think what I did there, what I did here versus like what I did here, I had more blue coming in, so it really highlights that that there's an inlet there, whereas this, it just kind of, there is a little bit of the blue coming in, but it's nowhere near as obvious as these two are. Then here it goes in a curve, so it's not as necessary. There's also something else with the waves as I get closer that I didn't include that I'm kicking myself for doing. When the waves get closer, or you're standing above them at least, you're looking in. So I should keep scratch paper around here so I can display what I'm talking about. Anyway, so if you're looking, the wave's coming towards you and you're looking at it head on, so the main part of it you're going to see is the face, just like that. So you would see the face of it like that, and then you would see, let's do, I can't bend my arm that way. You would see the back end as well, and it would be darker because the sun is passing through the front end, and this would be almost a shadow, and you wouldn't be able to see all of it because even though it's like a triangle, you're only seeing it at an angle, so you're seeing that much, and that means the shadow is that much darker because you're looking through all that back end there. And that's something I didn't include in the foreground, and I'm kicking myself now because it's a little, there wouldn't have been much of it. It would have been like here and there, you know, there wouldn't be a lot, especially considering how wide the field of view is here. But not including them at all. Maybe I can still add some without making it look too dark. So like, let's do them right here. They shouldn't be that much darker, and they shouldn't be very big. But they should be there. They're more apparent as you get closer too, which is funny because most of the foreground is blocked by foliage, so, or it will be. Add some more on the right as well, I think. They also, these little the shadow waves here do another thing that's pretty important as well. That because it draws your eye to those shadows, it makes the surrounding area less dark looking and a little less brown too, because the way your eye is drawn to these shadow waves here. I spent a little too much on that. Let's soften that up a little bit. I think that'll look good when I get the foliage in. All the reeds. Well, I learned something. I learned that as much as I like these waves here, these ripples like that, unless it's like a rock thrown in the water, it's not going to show up like that. Towards you maybe, but not these round ripples. And not unless you're like above it. And that's why this kind of, if you want to kind of go behind the camera a little bit, it's why that area looks like a plate, and then the rest of the area kind of lays down visually with the rest of the painting. Like I did mess up there a little bit. But I like the little heart. I like the heart ripples anyway. That being said, if I was going to redo it, I would probably go for a more realistic image. I can probably get it to lay down a bit better. If I add more of the static ripples here, and that it'll interrupt the big ripples I made. But at the same time, I kind of like the big ripples, even though it's less realistic and it looks better. From I feel like it makes it look more interesting from farther away, because it does have that plate effect, and it kind of like, this is where you're supposed to, like, you ever seen the maps with the gravitational waves with the planets on them, and they kind of bubble out like that, or bubble in, depending on what view you're looking at it from. I feel like this does the same thing, where the rest of the picture lays down and then this area kind of bowls in, and it kind of draws your eye to it that way, which is not how I typically do it in my paintings. Typically I have everything kind of pointing to one area, tunnel, a cave, you know, a canal. This is a little different. And looking at it from here, it looks fine, but when I look at it head on, like in the camera view, it looks a little bit different. But if I add more small ripples, it should lay down. Be a good painting. Lay down. Kind of interrupt. Interrupt the large ripples that I put in. Now, in a different situation, maybe the ripples could have worked if the swans just landed or something. Like, okay, that makes more sense. That would explain why the waves are doing what they're doing. But just judging by what I can see, that is not what's happening. They've obviously been here for a second, this whole family, and they're perusing the marshy goods that Potter's Marsh has to offer. here where the waters, or where the wind is curving down over the reeds and such, that's just bouncing off the water, making nice little ripples. Kind of want to switch brushes a little bit. See if I can't get some good ripples with this brush. I'll have a little more control over it, for better or worse. I think for better. Now let's get in close near the geese and add some more ripples. See, this is where, when you get closer to the subject, this is where I should have put the longer lines. And not out here like I did. So if I got rid of these and through here probably, and then brought them in closer, the longer ripples, I feel like it would make more sense to me. And something I gotta keep reminding myself is that I'm looking at my reference picture very close sometimes. So I can see not this one, for instance, but there's a curve here. It's very apparent in the picture I'm looking at, but when I zoom out even a little bit, it just vanishes in the ripples. So even though I can see it up close, maybe I shouldn't include it because it'll just look like a scribble if I see it zoomed out. But I could put little smiley face edges, little curve up on some of these waves to hint that it's there. And very subtle too. But it's why these waves and ripples are more angular, a little more angular than the cursive curl that you would kind of think was associated with a wave, because it's in the middle of 3 different wave sources. The waves are all bouncing off each other. Gotta get up and over it. Why'd I just smell chocolate? That's a weird thing. I don't even really eat chocolate. Does tea taste like chocolate? Not at all. That's weird. Am I having a stroke? I'm not even craving chocolate. It's like, why would I smell it? I haven't had any chocolate in like 2 weeks, at least. And that wasn't even that much. And immediately around the swans, there's a bit of a shadow as well. And I'll come back and do it a little differently later, but I think this is a good starting point for the shadow. Especially considering I haven't done any of the blue on the swans yet. Because that's what I'm going to be doing for the shade on the swans. It's like they're reflecting the sky and the water, so of course it's that same shade of blue since they're very bright white colored. Something I'm just realizing. It's always funny how when you do these paintings, these long paintings where it could take you up to like 40 hours to do, looking at your reference picture, like zoomed way in just to try and catch the details that you might be missing. It's surprising how much you miss until you get to a portion where you stare at it for longer than 5 minutes. So, and it's a natural connection to make too, but they're obviously feeding, right? Except for this guy here, he's either taking a nap or cleaning himself or something. Excuse me. But zooming way in, and because the projection of light here coming from the top right, I didn't notice that these three are just dripping water, like it's streaming off of them because they just submerged their heads and they brought their heads back up and there's just water coming down. I didn't notice that before, but I can clearly see the water droplets and stuff coming off now. And it's not even that, I mean, it's a pretty, yeah, I could show you. So it's not like a crazy high resolution photo here, but if you zoom in, you can clearly see the water coming off. How's the comparison look? So I kind of need more brown here. And really, the brown, I could bring it all the way out here. All the way across. And that would help. That would help get rid of those ripples, I think. That makes it sit so flat. But I won't be doing that today because I want to let it sit and make sure I'm not being rash about it. Let's see. So I'm pretty much... Oh, I'm going to touch up this swan on the top right as well. A little bit. On the left, because that is the shaded side. And really it should be lighter on the right and darker on the left. And even this one has a little bit. Not much though. Just got a little bit of shading here. And this little gooseling is just hanging out. Don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. So now I'm thinking we should do some of these reflections that I was mentioning before. And I think I'll start with the orange ones and come back through. For some of these, I'm going to be a bit in the way, and I apologize, but I think this is the best way. No, maybe not. Maybe I'll wait for it to dry off. I do not like putting my shadow in the way. Either way, these aren't going to be strong reflections, so oops, sorry camera. They're not going to be strong, but they'll be there. I really don't want these to be so obvious. In fact, they should be almost blurred. Maybe I should do it dark first. I really like what I just did right here. I came around with the orange and started doing the almost neon reflection there. Man, I was looking at my clock, and I'm curious how is Mondays like my best, most active chat days? Is it because maybe there's less people streaming on Mondays, so I have a greater reach because of that? I don't know. I'm really hesitant to do the yellows because I feel like it would turn green. Whereas it'll tolerate orange. The pre-layer of orange that I did on the water is helping me a lot, I think. hindsight, I don't really want to make the farthest out bits any darker. So it's probably a good thing I didn't start with the darker portions like I was talking about. So a lot of colors there. All right, well. Everything always looks so good on my viewfinder. Because I got my little, right here, I got my viewfinder LCD here. And it just looks so good on there. But then I look over here, I'm like, whoa, it's so bright. And then I look over here, oh, it's so dark. This one has the best color correction. Good thing too, because it's like it's a camera. You should have good color correction on a to see what you're shooting, you know. Not just what the camera sees, but what you see as well. I think that's a pretty good start. I think I'll try and start to do the reeds next time. On Friday, I may be doing streaming the Destiny raid, because with the new campaign missions comes a new raid, generally speaking. So there's a new raid coming out, and I may be playing that instead of painting. If that's the case, we'll probably stream over the weekend at some point, painting at least, because I want to do three painting sessions a week if I can manage it. At least while I'm not working. And especially where I'm getting to the end of this one, I'll probably be in the background. I'll probably be beginning to draw out my next one. That's not something I stream, though. I don't stream my drawings. So yeah, this is getting closer. So I imagine, if I were to guess, what I'll do here in the near future is I will work on this, and I imagine this will get me, this will take me a while to get right. It's like mostly light brown and orange, as is most of the foreground, just the season, this autumn season here. Like this right here, down here in the corner, is a pretty good representation of what the start of it'll look like. And I have a feeling I'll have to come back through with an X-Acto knife and really punch up some of them to give them texture compared to all the background noise that's happening as well. And then there's some fuzziness going on at the top, and a bunch of the really dark, I forget what those plants are called. Dragon tails, or Katie did. I don't remember what they're called. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna leave it there for the day, at least painting. And it's likely I'll stream Hogwarts tonight, if for those of that are interested in that. yeah, I'll play it by ear, I think. It's coming along. It's coming along, even though I'm not really happy about, I'm mixed with this here, this plate. Mixed feelings. But at the same time, I got a cute little heart surrounding those ones. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. If you did, Angel and Natalie, both, as usual, I really appreciate you guys showing up. But I am going to call it there. And it doesn't look like there's really anybody here with me, so maybe I won't be raiding today. Yeah, I'm going to call it there, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good evening.